Hi, I'm Deborah with 60 Plus Black Woman Expat, and my timing is absolutely perfect for this video because up until like less than 60 seconds ago, you could hear construction noise from next door, and now all you can hear in the background, I hope, is the ocean. Okay, I am continuing my mini series or segments on the day to day life of being a senior expat, a senior living in a foreign country, and specifically this senior living in Manta, Ecuador. And so I covered, if you haven't seen, I think there's one or two, so this would be the third installment on things that were different that sort of took me by surprise. And so without further ado, I'm going to jump right into it. And for this one, I actually called a couple of friends who had just arrived here within the last 60 days. And I also spoke to some who have lived here for a couple of years. What I noticed is because I've been here over a year now, that I had kind of got used to or forgotten some of the things that were really surprising, maybe irritating to me when I first got here. And so, speaking to someone who is here less than 60 days, they brought that back to mind and was like, oh, yeah, that was an irritation or something I wish I had known beforehand. So, I made notes and I'm going to, let's see, dive right in. Okay, one of the things was the water. Now, you would think water, well, we're used to drinking bottled water in the U.S. anyway. Yeah, we're used to drinking the bottled water by choice. We do know that we can, when we feel like it's relatively safe for us to drink tap water, and mostly we prefer drinking bottled water. There may be some areas. I personally stopped drinking. I'm from Dallas. Uh, Lived in Dallas, Texas, my entire adult life, and I stopped drinking the water decades ago because as a runner, uh, water is your fuel. I mean, I drank a lot of water because you have to stay hydrated, and it only took one time for me to get a card through the mail from the utilities from the water municipality that said, "Oops, um, one of our filtration things were down, and so you might want to boil your water for the next couple of days." Well, that was dated like a week ago, so whatever was in the water, we consumed it. From that point on, you could not get me to drink tap water. And so moving abroad and not and coming to Montador and being told not to drink the water was not a big surprise. Even when I was in Mexico, even though Puerto Vallarta was very proud that it had upgraded all the plumbing and that in many parts, if not all of Puerto Vallarta, it was indeed safe to drink tap water. But because it's such a huge tourist area, people still did the filtration system just so the tourists would feel comfortable. That was something that I researched and was like, I could have drank the water out of the faucet or tap water, but I was very careful because maybe the water is not the problem, but there are other things. Well, here in Manta, all the expats drink tap water, and you will see a lot of the native Ecuadorians are fine with the tap water. And so, in regard to Montezuma's revenge or the little amoeba that or whatever is native to their water that may not agree with our system, when you move to a foreign country, your body is going to have to make some adjustments. There's going to be different seasoning, perhaps new herbs that are put in your food. Um, and so your tummy may not like it and let you know, or your other parts of your digestive system may signal you that something new and different has entered. And in a couple of days, you feel fine and your body has adjusted. Very few times do you have to call a doctor. and they can prescribe something, or you can go to the pharmacy and they'll give you something to get past it. I personally hand out friends to friends little Ziploc packets of food grade diatomaceous earth, which is great for getting rid of the parasites that or whatever it is that you may pick up, and very, very gentle on your system. And I give them just a tiny Ziploc packet of some, and like, and maybe even the Google information on how it should be taken. I also put it in my pet food. You can shake some in the pet's kibble, or you can dissolve it in water. Uh, Diatomaceous or food grade. Have to be very, very specific and careful to get the food grade, which is beneficial to the body for both yourself and your pet. And follow the instructions. There's so much you give your pet for a number of days. It's not something you do every single day. You may do it for a 10-day segment, or 2 weeks, where you're giving them so much per pound size of the pet. And in terms of adults, how much you take as an adult for a period of, maybe a week or 10 days, if you did pick up something, or just as a precaution. But water isn't the only thing. So we do buy water, and it is in most of the, I can speak for the expats that live in condos, the water is delivered to the building. So you only ask the concierge or the building manager. You can hear the construction, they're packing up to leave. So you can hear that in the background. But the water is delivered there on a weekly or maybe twice a week basis, and you just let them know you want it, and they normally bring up a 5 gallon container to your condo. And it is a cost. It can be anywhere. I think when I first moved here it was $2.50, and then I upgraded to a different brand and type of water that was not just filled with water, but water from volcanoes, and that's supposed to be purified and have a lot of good stuff in it. And that one was about 350. And then when 2024 rolled around, it went up 50 cents. So now I pay $4 for a 5 gallon tank of water delivered to my door. And I bring them the empty bottle downstairs, and they immediately bring it up, and I just pay the concierge. And so that's how the water system. What you have to remember, even when you go to restaurants and you order a bottled soft drink, or alcohol beverage in a bottle, um, the ice. The ice may not be purified. So again, you may have exposure to the tap water through the ice. And sometimes, most of the time, if they take Visa cards or any type of credit cards, it's that's kind of signal that they cater to, or they're prepared to deal with the expat community and tourists, and so they will have water filtration. That's just kind of my signal to at least ask if they have water filtration, and then I feel comfortable um, having a glass of ice with my beverage. The other thing is not just the water, but the sugar. One of the pleasant things about living in Manta, where it's 70 to 80 degrees year round, uh, the fruit is always in season. Just usually always in season, and it's plentiful. So many variety of fruit juices that are available at just about any restaurant. Even the street vendors will have juice stands. There'll be juice stands out with blackberry juice, and you just name it, and you can find the juices. The thing is, I was cautioned by my doctor to get the juice unsweetened. I didn't know that they added sugar, and she said the sugar may not be refined as well as we might expect, and therefore we would get exposed to maybe an intestinal friend that we didn't plan on. So we have to remember to, or you might want to remember to say that you want the unsweetened fresh juice beverages. which requires them a little more effort because normally they will prepare it and it'll be in a fountain during the day. But if you want it unsweetened, that would take a little more effort and a little more time for them to prepare it. And they usually don't mind at all doing that preparation if that's what you request. Okay, so I'm checking out. I got water, I got ice, and I got fruit juice. Hot water. Oh my gosh. What am I going to say about hot water? Well, I don't know if it's an Ecuadorian thing, a Manta thing, or Latin American thing. So, I'm just going to say you may be surprised that some of the beautiful condos, high-rise condos with updated amenities and everything, may not have hot water in the kitchen. In fact, they may only have hot water in the bathing, showering area. Oh, it is very, very unusual to find a condo apartment with a tub. So if you're one of those like myself that loved a tub bath, loved a jacuzzi bath, well, you can treat yourself to one of the hotels on the weekend that are very reasonable, that has a tub, and make it a spa day or whatever, and have you a nice tub bath. But don't expect to find a tub. I think in the building that I'm in, I only saw one unit that had a tub, and it was a very old jacuzzi. I mean, it worked. It worked. It was an older model, and I would have been thrilled to have that, but they were selling it, and wasn't into buying. But I did want to take a look at it. So don't expect to find a tub unless you're actually building a house and you're going to install a tub. In fact, most of the houses for sale don't. I would say, yeah, don't have a tub. Yeah, you have very nice walk-in showers. So that's one of the things. If you have someone looking for you, before, of course, before you arrive, if you don't do a boots in the ground and do your own search and pick out where you want to move when you actually move here, I highly, highly suggest you do a boots in the ground, because again, you want to not only scout out the condo, apartment, or house or whatever, but the neighborhood, and you want to do it in all times of day. You want to do it in the morning. You want to go back and visit that area because you might be staying in a hotel or Airbnb. You want to visit that area at night, regarding the noise and everything that may not be present in the day when people are at work, but may be very present and very loud at night. And I covered that extensively in a prior video, so I'll just say go there about the noise. All right, let's see. Oh, leases. The lease, when you do an apartment or condo lease, everything is in Spanish because this is a Spanish-speaking country. And it's usually only after you sign the lease and request it, if you're dealing with one of the realtors that work a lot with expats, they will have it translated, your copy translated into English. But normally you, unless you ask beforehand, unless you have the foresight to ask beforehand that the lease be in English, or you use your phone translator to go along as they explain it to you, or perhaps they send you a copy, upload a copy of it. That could be something you possibly could request before you ever leave the country, that you upload a copy of it and then you can have it translated in the States. That's something I did not think to do, because I did not think to do it. I thought perhaps, or I guess I didn't think, but I would have assumed that there would be a lease in Spanish and a lease in English prior to me signing it. I also would highly recommend, even if you did a boots on the ground for, say, a month or 2 months, maybe even 3 months, and then you plan to move back and live in Manta long term, I still would suggest that you do a 6 month rather than a 1 year lease, because things like, excuse me a second, because things may arise in that apartment that you were not expecting, that is your responsibility and not the landlord or the owner's responsibility, or things that, preferences, things that you might want um, done. For instance, if you get to one of the apartments and you lived in the Airbnb while you scouted out and you found this gorgeous apartment, you walked through and everything was exactly as you you needed and met all your needs, and so you signed the lease before you left, and only to come back and turn on the faucets in the kitchen and find out, wait, I didn't think to check it's hot water throughout the house. Um, so it's not a how we got you. It just appears that's not a big thing here. Um, and so that's why it's good to work with realtors who are familiar with the expectations of Westerners and Europeans, and so they know we want hot water, steaming hot water, every faucet, you know. And so, cause that could be quite an irritation to sign a 1 year lease and then find out you don't have hot water in any room except the bathrooms. Okay, now I can check out hot water. So by doing that, if you signed a 1 year lease, you've signed a 1 year lease. Um, However, if that place is perfect and you signed a 6 month lease, you may be able to negotiate um, them putting in. I know in Mexico there was an attachment that gave hot water to, in the little tiny Airbnb I was in. I don't have any idea of what the capability is of adding that to a condo, but if that's important to you, you'll be glad that you signed a 6 month lease rather than a 1 year lease, because then you have 6 months to scout out another apartment, perhaps in the same ownership but a different building, maybe on the same grounds, the same gated community that does have it. You also find out things that may be a negotiating point for your rent not being raised when you renew. So there's just more pros than cons to signing a 6 month lease rather than a 1 year lease, because you're in the apartment. It's not like they're going to lease it out from under you when that 6 months is up. Normally, I've never heard of the case where, in fact, I missed out on the apartment that I wanted when I first moved here to Manta, because the people had given notice and then changed their minds. Like the last 45 days to me moving, thinking I had ocean view, I ended up having an obstructed ocean view, and I signed a 6 month lease and went into a place and gave me time to find where I am now. And now I enjoy a beautiful ocean view. In fact, I'm sitting out and the sun is going to set in a very short time. And I like to come out here and enjoy that. So I would say a 6 month lease if you're moving to anywhere out of the country, anywhere, if it's possible to get a 6 month lease, because you know more about that particular apartment or living arrangement after you stay there for 6 months. And you also have time to scout around and see what else is available. So 6 months lease. Okay, I've covered a lot. I may be talking fast. Okay, it's 20 minutes. Um, oh, another thing. Their laundry. If you are do a boots in the ground, of course, you know whether or not you want a washer and dryer. And that's another big thing. For me, it was a must because I don't want my laundry sent out. I want to be able to do laundry. And it's important if you are making a commitment and you haven't done a boots on the ground and you haven't decided on the place to stay and you're looking at photographs, you do want them to be current photographs and not old photographs, because not like when the place was just built, but it's dated now, and you get there and it looks like the pictures, but everything's older because it's had several tenants since those pictures were taken. So, and normally the case is they'll go in and video and take pictures at the time it, that you're planning to move, so those pictures are new. You have to be careful to remember um, to ask, because sometimes you just like, oh, the living room, the dining room, the bedroom's great, and you may not think to ask about if there's a laundry room or if there's a washer and dryer. Um, some of them will have the washer and dryer that's one unit. And I've heard that those work real well. That's not my case here. I have a large capacity washer and dryer. I actually have a utility room. In my first apartment, I also had a washer and dryer. It was stackable in a closet, so that was fine. It wasn't out in the open. There are a lot of apartments where the washer and dryer are in the kitchen. They're right next to the stove, um, or closer to the stove than my psyche would enjoy. If that's not a big deal, that's not a big deal. But that could be something that you get here and go, I don't know that I like that. And of course, you can buy a really cute cover to drop over it, and to your, if you just don't like seeing it there, because they're not going to move it. That's where the hookup and the plumbing and everything is. But that may be something that you missed in the photographs, and then once you move in, it's a dang, I don't know if I like that. It's the little foxes that ruin the vine. Okay, so the laundry setup, and so and if they say there's a washer and dryer hookup, but we're going to put one in, and it'll be here before you move in. Sometimes that's not the case. I've talked to a couple of people where it had been ordered and it just come in, and you've already signed the lease, and now you've moved in, and it's been a 1 month, 2 month, and the washer and dryer still haven't arrived, and so they may opt to pay to have your laundry done for you. So where your laundry is picked up and delivered to you, and if that's okay with you, then that's okay with you. Just another thing to look out for. So if you're promised a washer and dryer, you might want to see it in the apartment before you arrive. Just saying. Okay. Paying bills. I covered in one of the prior videos what the procedure was for me to pay my rent. So I will not cover it here. You have to watch the prior video. But I will cover other bills, like the electric bill and your Wi-Fi or cable. I'll cover Wi-Fi, because you're told that Manta has great, Ecuador, pretty much for the most part has good cable and Wi-Fi, and you can work here and be a digital nomad with no problem. It really depends on the condo and where the placement of the wiring is. My first one, I had regular cable, and I was not happy with the signal. I could do broadcast, but I pretty much had to do it in the same spot to get a good signal, because the walls are concrete. The walls are concrete. and signals do not go through concrete very well. So if I went into like a bedroom that didn't have a window where the signal could bounce in, I would not have a good connection. I was able to improve that with some boosters signal boosters that I put up, and that worked well. And then I moved to the place where I am now and was told, oh, you're going to love it. It's fiber optics. Yay, fiber optics. Yay, fiber optics. Steel concrete walls and placement. The ideal placement where I think it should have been near the television or near these huge floor to ceiling windows. It is not. It is in the kitchen. It's not in a closet, but I think my signal would be just as strong if it was in a closet. To say I'm not happy with the fiber optic signal or just a signal or the Wi-Fi service, I am going to request that they come out and perhaps maybe they can install another router or signal catcher or what. But that is something that I think the only way you know about that is if you were able to talk to a tenant that lived there before you, which I don't see how that would happen. I actually took over the contract of the tenant before me because in some places they require, some fiber optic companies require a 2 year, 3 year contract. He had done, a couple before me did a 3 year, and they left in their second year. So I picked up their third year and they shipped me the equipment and everything. And that wasn't a problem at all. And he had already spoke with the company and they just changed the name on it and it was seamless. And because I am over 65, I actually got a discount. So cost wise, it's great. I think I paid $19 or $20 for fiber optics. And when I'm in the right position, I get a good signal. But there are certain parts of the house where I just don't get a good signal. And it is concrete walls. So there may be, I'm told there's advertised a service where they can come out and I don't know what they install equipment or they do some movement of position of the equipment that may improvement. But that is something, just because they say you have fiber optics does not mean you're always going to have a good signal. The condo has fiber optics. And if you're in the right place, great signal. Oh, paying bills. Paying bills away from home. I went home for a month and my rent is due not at the first, but on the anniversary day date that I moved in. So if I moved in on the 8th, my rent is due on the 8th. My electricity is due on the 23rd. I was going to be still abroad on the 23rd. And normally I go to the mall and there's a bill paying company, sort of like in the grocery stores where they have check cashing and Western Union and all that other stuff in the U.S. They have those entities in the mall where you can go in and for literally 25 cents, 35 cents, you can show them your bill and pay your electric bill and your Wi-Fi bill. Uh, but the case was I wasn't here, so I could not go into the mall. And I do have a savings account here in Manta, but I forgot to leave funds in there because if the funds were in it, I could get online and actually transfer and pay or pay by transfer both my Wi-Fi and my electric. But the case was I didn't have the foresight to do that, and so I ended up I needed to send money to someone here to pay my bill, and luckily my house sitter who was watching my dog, was also a friend of mine, and I Zelled her the money and she paid the bill. And now I know if I leave, when I leave to visit some other place, I will leave, because I usually don't keep very much money in that account. I keep enough to pay the monthly cost of our equivalent to the Medicare, to their health system, and that's about it. So for that to come out, because it has to be attached to an account that can debit it for that. And so, was it difficult for me to open a bank account here? No, and it did not require a lot of funds. I think I can't remember. I think it was 100 or less, because it's been a while. I've slept since I opened it. But all I would have needed to do was leave the funds in there, and then I wouldn't have seen the bill though. Oh, I would have been able to pull up the bill online, and I would have been able to pay it, because they do, the concierge either or the attendants at the gate either give me my electric bill and cable bill, when my electric bill when I'm going and coming, walking the dog, or they'll put it on through the door. They'll put it under the door, and it comes about the 11th or 13th, and it's due on the 23rd for the electric bill. Ah, I'm on 30 minutes. I think I'm doing really good. And I'm checking off. I've done water, I've done ice, I've done juice, hot water, short-term leases, being a point of negotiation. You know everything that's wrong with that. So maybe you can negotiate that they keep your rent the same, or maybe they upholster something, or make something that's right, that you would want differently. I'm just saying, you can ask. I'll let you know. Mine is coming up in June, and there's a few things that I'd like tweaked. Cash on hand. If you don't know, one of the big benefits to living in Manta is that they're on the U.S. currency, dollar. Yes. So I don't have to worry about conversion of pesos or whatever. It's the U.S. dollar. And it's very interesting. So we tell people when they come to bring cash, because a lot of places don't take cards. Don't take cards. They operate on cash. And that can be restaurant. That can just be just about anything where they prefer to be paid cash. And you want small bills. They hate getting a 20, especially if it's a taxi. I have my other phone here because I wanted to show you. Pardon me a minute. I'll bring that up, and I will turn the volume down on this. I should have done before I started. Okay, and because it will be sunset in a very few minutes. Oops. Here we go. Yes. This is not how I dress to go out during the day. This is how I dress to be on my covered balcony. The roof of my balcony extends to the very end, so I don't get direct sunlight. I get indirect sunlight, and that's great. So this is how, if I'm going out and I'm going to be in direct sunlight, as dark a pigmentation as I have, I'm very careful to wear sunscreen. And this is why. I hope you can see this very clearly. This was taken not now. It's probably 5:30. Oh, it's almost 6 o'clock. Okay. This was taken at about 1:30, and the UV was, they had that 11 at the top, and it was very high. You saw it was red, And then down here toward the evening, which it's 6 p.m. is right down here. So I'm not in danger of getting sunburn because the UV is very low right now. But had I gone out around 1:30 when the UV was very high, it said extreme peak UV index of a, oh no, I turned this down. Okay. Oh, now it's down. Extreme UV index of 11 means sunburn is possible after 11 minutes. Use sunscreen. 11 minutes goes really fast. Even if you say, well, I'm taking a taxi and so I won't be in the sunlight, you'll be surprised that you may wait there for a few minutes for a taxi. Yeah, I doubt you wait 11 minutes, but you run into another expat and you're outside talking, and it's more than 11 minutes, and you think you're not in trouble, but you could be. I got very severe sunburn uh, when I first moved here because I thought, oh, it was pleasant and hot and I want to wear as less clothes as possible. No, no, no. If I go out, I would have a light, airy jacket over this one. And I say, like a polyester sheer thing that would catch the wind but also block a few rays from the sun. And of course, I would be wearing sunscreen. And so that's a health thing. You want to wear the sun. You want to bring the sunscreen and you want to use the sunscreen. And I say you want to bring the sunscreen because sunscreen over here is probably 3 times more costly. They know you gotta have it, so it's imported. It's not that they're gouging you. It's imported, and it probably costs them more to stock it. So you're gonna find it. It's readily available, but where you might pay $6 for a bottle, you might pay $26 for that same size, maybe same brand of sunscreen here. So that was a big irritation. It wasn't that I had to wear sunscreen, is that I was used to just paying a couple of dollars for sunscreen. I wasn't used to making an investment in sunscreen. And so, but you do it because that's your health. Okay. Oh, I think I've done. Oh, I was back to the small bills. Yes, taxi cab drivers do not want. They don't want a 20, and because you would take all of the cash that they have to make change for the next people, and you're only going to be in that taxi most time 5-7 minutes from here to the mall or to the other popular areas. You can probably get around Manta in 10 minutes, 15 minutes in a taxi, but most of the time we're doing little 5-7 minute trips to the popular places. And so you want to keep ones, lots of ones, and the $1 bills, I mean the ones over here are usually a coin. I should have brought it to show you because the coins are really pretty. And they'll say United States on the coin because it's U.S. currency. But you'll find people on coins that you don't see. We don't see that many dollar coins in the U.S. And they're plentiful dollar coins here, and they're quite beautiful. The art, the way they're crafted and minted, they're nice. And next time I will show you some of the coins. So you want to keep a good number. You want at all times to have some dollars. $5 bills are fine. They'll change that with little writing, but they really don't want a 10, and they certainly don't want a 20. And that is even at the ice cream shop or the little mom and pop stands. In a big restaurant, that's not a problem. Um, they would prefer that you have tens and fives because it just it's helpful to them, and they don't like breaking a 20. And if you, I remember I had an experience on Carnival Day, and we were all in cabanas on the beach, and the restaurants surrounding the mall and the beach, and all along the beach there are food shops, and restaurants, and so they were bringing our food. They bring you the menu right to your cabana, and then bring you food. And that particular day, I didn't have a lot of change, so I gave this guy who delivered my food a 20, and then he left to go get change, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and I even saw him a couple of times serving others, and I would raise my hand because I'm waiting for my meal was like $12 or $8. I'm waiting for my change. And I'm like, you're not saying you forgot you. And he would wave like, oh, I got you, I'm coming to you. But it was a good 20 minutes or more before he actually did make it back to me with change for uh, after I had paid for my meal. And it's my fault. I mean, he probably had to go back and forth. He probably had to argue with them. He probably had to deliver a couple of more meals and get change and then bring me my funds. So life would be a whole lot easier if you carried around small bills, small bill and dollar coins. You will, it will just, everybody will be happier. And I'm up to 40 minutes. Oh, I did want to um, mention something that came up with one of the expats that just left. She's a seasonal visitor, so she comes, spends time here, going to be on an annual basis, and then go home and then come back or whatever. But this was her first time going back home after being here for I think 3 months or so, and she felt fatigued and tired and didn't really understand why, because the flight wasn't that long, why she felt that way. And I brought to her attention that, oh yeah, the flight mainly was only 6 hours or 4 hours, different 4 hour segments or 6 hour segments of the flight. It wasn't your time in the air, it was the distance that you covered. You were on a different continent with a different gravitational pull. And so that's a lot to ask your body. When you think about back in the day with our grandparents or great grandparents for sure, you usually died where you were born. You may have taken a couple of trips to, if you were in Texas, California was a big trip or whatever, or Chicago was a big trip. But even then, you drove, so your body gradually became accustomed to the gravitational pull, the uh, the sea level, and all of that. So when you got where you were going, you were fine. Your body did not have to make an adjustment. But when you're flying in a jet and you're crossing continents in a couple of hours, your body needs time to catch up. And I say that specifically today because with the solar eclipse, and we didn't get much of anything in regard to a spectacular solar eclipse here. Some of the people were commenting that the sun and nature didn't like Manta because we didn't get the eclipse here, or they didn't get spectacular pictures. Nobody had to wear glasses or look. I didn't see anybody looking up at the sky anytime today, and I didn't see any big change. So, but for the past, I would say 48 hours, my mood swing has been something that I didn't understand what was going on. I wasn't eating differently. There was no new activity that would have been a drain or a strain on my body. And it wasn't that I felt especially tired. There were moments of tiredness. There were moments of just not being motivated. Um, and it was just kind of a roller coaster. And someone commented on a YouTube channel that an eclipse is a major thing, and the ocean feels it. I mean, the whole world is experiencing, and maybe the animals know what to do, know how to prepare for it. I don't know that humans do, in terms of the effect that it's going to have on our body. But the woman who covered it very eloquently was just saying, be patient with your body and just kind of go with the flow. It's not something that you have to medicate um, to get through or to get through. It just may be a time thing, and so give it a couple of days before you feel like you're so. So when you're traveling to a foreign country and you get there and we kind of expect that when we're vacationing, we usually allow for a day or two to kind of just get in the groove of being in that place. And also when we come back home, hopefully you schedule a day or two before you're back to work, because just to rest and recuperate. But often when we've lived in a place for a while and we fly back home, we forget, even though we're going back home and we know what the routine is going to be, our body is moving from one place to another place, and it needs time to catch up and adjust. So I did want to cover that. Maybe not anything that you need to see a doctor about or medicate. Maybe just give yourself some time to adjust. So at least you know, consider that may be what's going on if you feel a little out of sorts or unusual, either going back home or when you first arrived here. Because it's like, oh, the weather's great. Why don't I feel like going out and being around? That could be it. And I'm done. I'm talked out and I've covered everything on my list. Yay! I love making lists. And I want to thank those who I called that reminded me of some of the things that made it to the list. And let me know. I'm reading the comments. I got a lot of good feedback that this is the type of thing you wanted. You didn't want just uh, the adventures and stuff. One lady put it this way. She said, I'm not looking to vacation there. I'm looking to live there. So tell me what life is like on a day-to-day basis here. And as you can see, it is getting darker. So I'm going to let you see a Manta sunset before I sign off. I'm going to turn the camera around. And I hope you enjoy. It is a beautiful sunset today. And I think you may be able to hear the music. I think somebody's being serenaded. Oh my gosh, how lucky can you be? Yeah. Oh, the guy down there has a boombox. Let's see if we can. Let's see. There's the boombox. So they're enjoying a beautiful day. Oh, you actually hear the birds chirping, and a couple of his whole family in the water. Head back to the sunset. Down there now. Oh, that's beautiful. Hey, it's showing up really good on the. You can see it on the water. Yeah, I could have planned this better with the music going and the sun, the sun setting. Okay, that's it. Until next time, I hope you enjoyed this segment. Be sure to comment, subscribe, and share, because you never know what friend share on your other on your social media platforms that you're on, because you never know who might be a secret expat planning to pick up and move abroad. So thank you. Until next time. Bye.